be stumbling around too much, but anyway, when you first open up After Effects, you're going to get a screen that looks like this or something similar. First thing you want to do is you're going to go to Composition and say New Composition. This is your video. This is the actual screen that you're going to be using, exporting as. So first thing you're doing to choose at the top is your preset, which is your screen size. You can go all the way up to 8K if you want, or 4K. Let's just stick to the default sort of HD TV 1080. That's a high definition format. Square pixels, leave that as it is, because this is digital. Digital content is always square pixels. Frame rate, you can leave it as it is. And then this is the duration. 30 frames a second is probably, I mean, you can leave it as that for now, but remember for your Simba Wakati one, you're going to have it probably shorter, max 15, so you could change that to 15 frames a second. And actually what we have here is hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds, so this is about 15 seconds long. And background, you can change the color, but we're going to leave it as black for now. Okay, so then first thing you have here, this is your composition now. Down here you have your timeline, which is kind of similar to what you've seen in Flash or other editing software applications like Premiere. This is your window, like your library, where you have all your content. And then up here is your tool panel. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in a couple of things. Let's see if I can find something, hopefully on my desktop. So I'm going to import a file. I'm going to actually multiple files. And I'm going to look on my desktop what I can find, and hopefully there'll be some stuff. Let's see, desktop. I can bring in some pictures too. So that's kind of random. Let's see what I can find here. Here we have a baby elephant. That's kind of cute. Let me bring in that picture, and let me bring in. This is the tutorial that I had earlier, so I might as well bring that one in. That's like a video file, so that's fine. Let me just that's a big one, it's a bit smaller. Let me bring that one in. Okay, anyway, so here I have a video file and an image. That's fine. And again, the beauty of After Effects, I can bring any content I want. You can even bring Flash files in, you can bring Illustrator files in, actually Photoshop files, and it'll even bring in the different layers. So it really accepts a lot of file formats. But anyway, let's start with an image. I'm going to just drag that elephant image onto the desktop over here. And here I have an elephant image. So obviously it's an image, not a video. It's not going to move. Over here is the timeline, the frame, so I can shorten it or lengthen it depending how long I want it to be on the screen. Let's just say I only want it to be on the screen for, I don't know, the first 6 seconds. That's it. And then every layer, and let me just on top of that bring in that fish animation. So anyway, I have fish animation on top of the elephant. So I can see over here I have the fish animation. At the bottom I have an elephant here. Let's just say I wanted the fish animation to start so first I see the elephant and then the fish animation fades into it. So unlike a lot of other programs where you kind of have transitions that you can just drag and drop, every layer, this is important, so every layer in After Effects has this little arrow here on the side, and if I click on that, it opens up that layer. And then I have another arrow, I can press transform, and these are sort of options that I have within that layer of things I can do. So for example, let me go to that top one just so you guys can all see it. I'm going to go to transform, and I can do things like, let's say I want to change the scale. What I do is I just click and drag, and as I drag I can see I'm changing the scale of that image. I can do, you can play around with any of these. These are the default ones that it comes with. I can rotate the video. I can change the transparency, whatever I want to do. And I can do the same for every layer has those options underneath it, and these are just the default ones for now. I kind of want it to be rotation was the issue. Let me put it back at 0 so that it's sort of centered. Anyway, so let me bring back this video, make it slightly bigger so it fits the screen. And then if I want it to fade, what I'll do is I will start off the opacity at 100. And what I'll do, this little timer over here lets me know that I want to edit that. I want to edit the opacity of this video clip. So what I'll do, I'll click the timer over here. And what you'll see what happened down here, by clicking the timer, it created something called a keyframe. This little diamond over here is a keyframe. So I click the timer. I now know that that's the layer I want to edit. So now I have the keyframe over here. It's 100%. Let's just say over 2 seconds, I want it to slowly fade out. What I would do now is I can now just edit it all the way down. And in After Effects, by default, there's a tween kind of. So in Flash you have to specify it. In After Effects by default. So what happens now by default, you'll see, is it starts over here at 100%, and then it slowly is going to fade over 2 seconds, and I now see the layer underneath it, which is in my case the elephant. If I want to do other stuff, let's just say I wanted to rotate it while it's fading out, what I would do is the same sort of thing. I would decide that this layer is where I want the rotation to happen. So I would, let's just say I wanted to start not rotate, maybe it'll start rotating at this point. What I would do is click again the stopwatch, that creates a keyframe, and now maybe I want it to, as it's fading out at this point, I want it to rotate, so then I can click rotation like this, and this is going to rotate about 2-3 times, so now what's going to happen, you can see it's slowly fading, and then at this point it hits that keyframe, and then it's going to slowly start rotating as it fades. And again, if I wanted to just happen a bit earlier, I click on that keyframe and I can slowly drag it. And now what it's going to happen is, you probably guessed it, so as it's actually starting to rotate as it fades out. Obviously it's not an amazing animation, but just the idea that you can sort of open up these layers and then animate different points within these layers. Let's just say, and again these are the default ones, so I could put a filter on. Let's just say I have this elephant over here that appears here, so I'm going to go back to this bottom layer, which is the elephant layer. I'm going to put a filter on here. So under effects I can do something, let me just see, let me just go to stylize, and I'm going to go to threshold. If you remember from Illustrator, threshold creates a black and white image. So here I have a threshold of this elephant, but let's just say I wanted, but remember now this layer has a filter, so if I scroll down, I should be able to, let's just see what happens. Why is it not letting me scroll down? Let me just bring this up a bit so I can scroll better. So yeah, I'm going to open this here. And now what you'll notice is I have the default ones, but I also have this new thing that is effects. And then this effects layer now has that filter in there. And I can do exactly the same sort of stuff. I can say, let's just say I wanted it to start. So at the beginning I wanted to fade here. But I actually want the elephant to now increase the threshold level at this stage. What I could do then is I click on the level over here. And what I'll see is that I clicked, it should create a keyframe here exactly, and now as I'm going to change the threshold level here to like more black, let's just say, or more white, let's say I want to fade it out. So you'll see what happens is what's going to happen is going to now slowly over time actually fade out the image as well. And I'm trying to think if there's a way for me to get rid of that effect. Well, I could do what I could have done, and I can do it now quickly. I can click on this layer, I can copy it, and I can paste that layer twice. On this top layer I'm going to actually get rid of that effect. So now I have the elephant, but let's just say I want it to slowly fade out. So at this point we have this animation happening, and then let's just say I want to slowly fade out the elephant so the threshold appears. And what I would do is click on opacity here, create a keyframe, go a bit further, and then put the opacity all the way down. And now you can kind of guess what's happening. It's going to be an elephant, it's going to rotate. I see my elephant over there, and then slowly it's going to fade out to my white over there. So it is a super powerful tool. You can kind of guess, there's a lot of things you can do here, but just remember, the important thing to remember is that you have these different layers, and then within the layers you open them up, and then you have all these different effects that can be sort of animated or changed over time.